What's up YouTube? Zach here with Bus Voyage, and today we are comparing bus life versus van life. So recently my dad has made the move, he has bought a van and he has begun the process of converting it so he can, not full-time, but at least part-time, live in a van. And so specifically he has chosen to buy the 2016 Ram ProMaster with a 159-inch wheelbase. So that's the specific van that we will be comparing to my short school bus today. Now obviously there are many other vans out there, however I would say that if you are considering a van versus a bus, this is the van that I would look at just because I think it has all the best benefits and features compared to the Ford Transit, the Mercedes Sprinter, and the various other ones out there. So let's jump into it. So we're gonna start this by doing a quick tour of each, just see the details, see what the insides look like, and then once we've gone ahead and taken a look at both the bus and the van, we're gonna jump into some details about both. We're gonna break down some numbers so that you can make a fair comparison about bus versus van and which one is better for your conversion vehicle. Here we go. Okay, so we hop into the van here, and the first thing we notice is that everything is completely torn out. Now obviously this isn't the case with all vans, however, for a lot of them you will find that they're already completely torn down like this, which makes it so much easier to begin construction. The beautiful thing about this is we have a really nice frame here for attaching things to, attaching our studs, attaching our framing, throwing insulation in. I will say that as far as insulation goes, I do worry that it'll be a little bit more difficult to insulate small pockets and things like this compared to the bus where we just put down big sheets across the floors and spray foam across the walls. We also notice the wheel wells here. The wheel wells are nicely covered with this plastic guard, nice and concealed. The floor is not quite flat, which is something to think about compared to the bus, which will have a flat floor. Moving up into the cabin here, this one has a really nice cabin. Everything is in pristine condition. We'll see here that the driver's seat and steering wheel reflect more of a standard car. We've got cruise control right under there. Now I will say that with the Ram ProMaster specifically, you'll find that the seats sit up pretty high. There's about a 9-inch box that the seats are sitting on top of. So your eyes will tend to sit near the top of the windshield. However, overall, it looks like a really comfortable experience. The other thing to think about is that, again, with the cabin, you're going to have 2 seats compared to one with a school bus, 2 doors, 2 standard doors at least, compared to 1 standard door with a school bus, just reflecting a lot more of a traditional car type feel. Another important thing to note about the Ram ProMaster is that while this one has full windows in it, most models do not come with windows. It's actually more common to find them completely barren without any windows, while the school buses do come fully enclosed with windows. So this could be either a benefit or a downside depending what you're looking for in your conversion vehicle. Personally, I found the amount of windows in the school bus to be a bonus. I'm somebody who loves natural light, and so it was a big plus for me to be able to get all of that. However, it also does create a lack of privacy, which might be a concern for you. Okay, let's check out the bus. Now, obviously, I've been working on the bus for a few months, so we won't necessarily be able to see the bare bones version of it like we can the van. However, as we get in here, we will see that the way in which I have framed this is much different than you would expect to frame a van. Because the bus has perfectly flat walls where the van doesn't, it makes it super easy to throw these 2x4s up on the walls and throw insulation board, XPS board specifically, in between them. Comparing the cabins up here, in a school bus you've got that traditional school bus feel with the school bus door, the door opening mechanism, and then the single school bus driver's seat with the steering wheel. Now, it's also fair to mention that the school bus I'm comparing here is actually 8 years older than the Ram ProMaster we're looking at. So this is a 2008 Ford E450 mini school bus compared to a 2016 Ram ProMaster. However, comparing the console here, you will find that there are much older controls, much fewer controls. There is no cruise control over here. And we have no digital display, but instead just a simple temperature control and radio. Now, this isn't something to worry about too much, as all of this can be switched out for more modern pieces. On top of that, I plan on removing the door opening mechanism and replacing it with a more standard style door, and so this will save a lot of space as well. However, the fact that there's only one seat instead of two is something to think about if you are traveling with a companion and you want to have two seats in the driving area, then this could be a concern for you. Another thing to notice in the bus is that the back door is much smaller, and so a lot of people enjoy creating really spacious trunks in their vehicles, and although you can still do that in both vehicles, with the smaller door means less access to the back, where this door covers about maybe 40% of the total back area. On the Ram ProMasters, the back door does cover 100% of the back area. However, that being said, the Ram ProMasters are also not as wide as the mini school buses, and so you will have more total room in the school bus. Okay, so we've had a chance to look in the bus and in the van. We got a feel for what each of them look like and feel like. So now let's go over some more of the quantitative data and actually get down to the numbers so that we can compare the bus versus the van. So the first thing that I want to talk about is cost. For my bus, I paid a little over $7,000, which I would say is a fairly average price for a short school bus. I think you can find some of them as cheap as $4,000, especially if you're buying them from auction or directly from a school district, or as high as $9,000 or $10,000 in some situations. Then for the van, we get the van for $16,500, which I will actually say is a really good deal for the van that we got. It has 120,000 miles, and that might seem like kind of a high price for that mileage. However, these things have a crazy market for them. Everyone's looking for them. And so I think this is probably actually valued at around $21,000. So in comparison, the bus having 140,000 miles and being pretty similar in mileage, the bus is going to be way cheaper for a similar mileage compared to the van. And again, that's simply because of the market for the vans. There's just so much more of a market. So the next thing to think about after the actual price of the vehicle is the price of the fuel that you're putting in the vehicle. Now, the van is estimated to get 15 miles per gallon, while the bus is estimated to get 12 miles per gallon. So not a huge difference there, but if you plan on driving a lot of miles, it's definitely something to consider. On top of that, my bus is a diesel. Now, after thinking about it and after having it for a little bit, I actually wouldn't recommend a diesel, but that's a different video, so we can get into gas versus diesel engines later. However, point being, it's generally going to be cheaper gas-wise to drive a van compared to a bus. Okay, so the next thing to think about is how much space you're actually going to have in each vehicle. The main part of the van behind the seats to the back door is going to be 144 inches long by 72 inches wide by 76 inches tall. Now, when we calculate that out, that gives us 456 cubic feet. So a fair amount of room. The bus, on the other hand, gives us 166 inches in length from the back door to the back of the seats by 77 inches tall, so just an inch taller, by 90 inches wide, so significantly wider. Now, that's going to give us a net volume of 665 cubic feet. Now, this is actually crazy because when you look at the two side by side, they look fairly similar in size. However, because of the extra 18 inches in width, 1 inch in height, and about 22 inches in length, it's actually going to make the bus 46% larger than the van. Now again, this space is subtle and kind of hidden, but this is so much more space when you're using every inch for your conversion. This will give you so much more space for storage, for potentially putting in a shower, and for all other types of amenities that you might want while living in your converted vehicle. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about, something that's not quite as quantifiable, but still very important, is the ease of conversion. So when it comes to the ease of conversion, the first thing to note is that the bus, in most cases, will come full of school bus seats. Now, this isn't the biggest obstacle, but it's definitely an extra step in converting your bus. Compared to the van, most Ram ProMasters are going to come fully deconstructed as they're cargo vans. They're designed for work. And so they already come with a bare frame, and it's super easy to convert them right out of the box. There's no need to tear anything down. Something else to think about as far as ease of conversion is windows and if you want them. So the school bus, in most cases, will come with windows lining pretty much the entire frame. Whereas the Ram ProMaster, this isn't always the case. Now, with the one that I have here, it does have windows completely lining the van. However, this is actually not super common. For most Ram ProMasters, you'll find that they actually have no windows, maybe back windows and obviously windows next to the driver and passenger seats, but normally they will not be lining the main storage area of the van. Now, this could be a positive or a negative depending on what you're looking for. If you're somebody who likes a lot of natural light, you probably want windows. At the same time, windows can definitely create less privacy if you're trying to park in kind of hidden casual spaces around a city. And the last thing that I want to talk about in comparing each of these vehicles is how they drive. So this is something that I didn't necessarily know about before I bought my vehicle. But I have found that the van drives much better than the bus. Now, part of this is because the bus is going to weigh a lot more and it's designed for short trips twice a day, carrying children back and forth to school. Whereas the van is an industrial vehicle that's designed to have hundreds of thousands of miles put on it, carrying cargo and storage and different, business needs. So what I've found is that the bus does not have as good of suspension, and because of this, it struggles a little bit when you're going over more bumpy, rocky terrain. And so for this reason, you're probably not going to be able to take the bus deep into off-road situations like you might be able to with the van. I'm not saying that this will completely ruin the bus, because there are always options like upgrading the suspension or just going slow on these terrains, or even getting new tires would probably help. However, you will find that when driving the bus, you have to go a little bit slower, and in general, it just doesn't drive as well on bumpy terrains. Now, the van, I'm not gonna lie, it's still not perfect on these terrains. It's not a Jeep, it's not designed to be an off-road vehicle. However, it does have better suspension and it's a little bit lighter of a vehicle overall, and so in general, it will handle these situations better. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of information on vans and buses and will help you make a decision on which one is right for you. If there are any other criteria that you're curious about or want to compare between the two vehicles, go ahead and drop a comment below and we can cover that in another video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for new videos every Thursday.
And if you want to learn more about the bus conversion process, or you just enjoy watching us do it, feel free to watch some more of our videos over here or over here. That felt pretty good.